Hey y'all, come on in. Thank you for stopping by Crafting with Kitty, where I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful headpiece. This is a process video. It's just giving you a general idea of how to make the headpiece, but you can adjust it and make it your own. I chose to customize mine, but you can do yours however you like. I hope you enjoy the process. Let's get started. Designing for my sublimation that's going to go on the silk portion of the bonnet. I am typing in the name of my YouTube channel because that's what I want on the inside of my bonnet, and I'm also going to change the type of font, and then once I change the type of font I'm going to resize it and change the color. Here I am moving it up to the top of the page, and now I'm going to insert the adinkra symbol that I want to put inside, and I'm also going to change the type of font, and then once I change the type of font I'm going to resize it and change the color. Here I am moving it up to the top of the page, and now I'm going to insert the adinkra symbol that I want to put inside of here as well. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to resize it. I'm going to change the color to red, and then I'm going to put it up top. I'm going to duplicate both of these items, and then I'm going to put them, place them where I want them, and then I'm going to align them in the middle, and then I'm going to distribute them so that they are evenly across, and then I'm going to duplicate that and put it at the bottom, and then I'm going to duplicate the portions that I need duplicated to make that middle piece the way I want it. And so now I'm going to continue doing that, and then I'll do the same thing I did to the top, which is align it middle and then distribute it across once I have all the pieces in place. Now I'm going to duplicate this page once I've gotten everything where I want it, and then on the duplicate page I'm just going to move some things around, copy and paste, so that the second page is slightly different from the first page. I forgot to mention that I am using Publisher, Microsoft Publisher. That is my preferred method of designing for certain things because it helps get everything lined up just exactly how I want it. So this is the easiest thing for me to use. I suggest that you use whatever platform is easiest or best for you. Now I have an example piece here of what the bonnet will look like and the size of it, and you should measure, it should measure 13 inches from the point to each end part. So on this piece here it should be folded in half lengthwise and then folded again widthwise so that you have 4 pieces. And essentially it looks like a rectangle, and you want to take the end of your ruler, make sure it's at the 0 mark, and mark your fabric at 13 inches from one edge all the way around to the other edge. So you're essentially kind of making an arch or a half circle. And then I will go back and fill in some of the spaces so that my dots are not too far apart, because what I'm going to do after I make all of these dots is I'm going to go back and trace so that I can cut my fabric in the shape that I need it to be, but my dots won't be so far apart that it'll be kind of off. It's going to be off anyway because I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes, but as best I can get it, I want to make sure that I get it as accurate as I can. I'm using this piece just to show you guys how to cut it, but the piece I'm going to actually be sewing and sublimating on is actually going to be a white satin piece. So to save myself some time, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place this green piece on top of the white piece, so that all I have to do is cut around it so that I can get it done a little bit faster, and it's just as accurate. And then now I'm going to measure the round piece just to make sure that it is even on all sides. So if it's one measurement, which is 27 inches this way, then if I turn it around on the other side or to the other side, it should be 27 inches as well. That way I know that my piece is relatively even all the way around. Here I'm measuring with my sublimation paper to see how many prints I'm going to actually need to fill up this piece of satin fabric. So you guys know I try to use everything I have, every scrap, all of that. So right here I was measuring, trying to see if I could use these scraps to make the headband for the bonnet or hat or tam or whatever you want to call it. But I was unable to do it. Well, I could have done it, but I thought it would be in my best interest to just go ahead and get another piece of fabric and make sure that I did it right, especially since I'm trying to show you guys how to do it. Right here I am putting marks on the other fabric that I pulled out, and I'm marking from the end to 3 inches all the way down, and then I'm going to make a line all the way down and cut it, and then I'm going to cut that piece that I've cut already. I'm going to cut that in half, and then I'm going to turn them right sides together and pin it together. and that's going to be the headband piece. So a lot of this video will have parts that are very speedy. I guess I don't have a better word, but I had to speed up the video because I don't want it to be too long. I wanted to be conscientious of how long this video was, and I also want to be conscientious and courteous of your time, because I appreciate you even watching the video, so I don't want to make it too long. I am threading my machine here, and I was having a little tough time getting the thread in there correctly, but I eventually got it. So you want to make sure that once you thread your machine, you want to put it on the basting stitch, because the first stitch you're going to do is going to be basting the two bonnet pieces together. So your front piece and your back piece of your bonnet needs to be base stitch, and that's usually the dial is set on number 4. That's usually the largest stitch that you can get on the machine. Now here, before I baste everything, I first have to sublimate my design. Again, I am using HTV Runt because that's the paper that I have right now. So I do have butcher paper on the back side. You want to make sure that you do put butcher paper on the back side if you are sublimating, because you do not want to transfer those images to any other part of your design. Then also you want to make sure that you tear the edges, because you don't want very sharp edges once you placed everything down. And try to make sure that you measure where you're placing your heat press, because you want to make sure that you don't over press one side or the other. Everything is not going to be perfect. There will be some mistakes, there might be some ghosting, but I want to make sure that you do it as best you can. Make sure that you tape your design down. Here I forgot to tape it down, so I just waited until the first press was finished, and then I just kind of snuck under the paper and put the tape on there. So make sure that you tape everything down securely so that you don't get ghosting. Now I'm turning the fabric over on the wrong side. facing up so that I can put the right sides together on the I'm sorry, I want to put the wrong sides together with the blue fabric that's going to go on top, but I need to iron those wrinkles out first, and then I'll put those pieces back together and pin them together, and then cut all of the excess off to make sure that I have a pretty good even circle on both sides. Now, what I figured out after I had pinned it all together is that I pinned it in the wrong direction, and you'll see where I had to go back and repin the whole thing because it would not have sewn properly if I tried to sew it the way it's pinned now, because I wouldn't have been able to get the fabric in there correctly. Now once you have everything pinned the correct way and you're ready to sew, you want to make a 1/4 inch seam all the way around the 2 pieces of fabric. And again, it is going to be on the basting stitch. That dowel should be on the 4 or the largest stitch that your machine offers. This can also be done by hand if you want to stitch it by hand. You would just need to make large stitches around again a 1/4 inch around, and then you would need to leave a nice size thread tail, because you're going to take the tails of your basting, and that's going to be how you start your gathering. You're going to pull a little bit at a time, and then you're gonna gather, then you're gonna push it down further along in the further part of the circle or the fabric, and you're gonna be gentle with it because you don't want to tear your thread. If you break your thread, you're gonna have to re-stitch all over again. So just be as gentle as you can. This is gonna take some patience and some practice. You're not gonna be able to do it properly on the first time. If you are, that's great. If you don't be discouraged. Just re-sew it and start over and take your time. I wanted to apologize too. I didn't notice until I was watching this bag that I didn't have the fabric in the video like I should have, so I apologize. I know if you're like me, I got my head kind of turned trying to see what's going on. I apologize for that. Again, y'all, I'm new at this. I'm learning, so please bear with me. I promise you it will get better. So when you get to the end of this, you're going to take your two pieces and you're going to tie those two ends that come together. You're going to tie them in a knot, probably two, just to secure the gathering because you don't want it to come loose. And then you're going to get your headpiece or your band, your headband is what I'm trying to say. You're going to get your headband and you're going to take it and you're going to run a seam, a 1/4 inch seam along the sides and the bottom of it first, and then you're going to attach it to the cap. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm test pinning this to measure around the cap to make sure that it's going to fit properly and that I'm going to have enough gathering underneath the headband and that my headband is actually going to be long enough. Now we're ready to sew the headband, and so we need to reset the machine to a regular stitch, and we're going to set it on a 1 or 2. Mine is set on 2. Now I am sewing my 1/4 inch seams down the side, and I'm going to take it and turn it. When you take it and turn, if you're using the machine, if you take it and turning your fabric, you need to make sure your needle is down in the fabric and lift your presser foot up and then make the turn. And then you're going to continue sewing. Then once you get down to the other end, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to stop with your needle down in the thread, lift your presser foot, and then press it, turn your fabric, turn it back around, and then continue sewing. And then after that, after you finish with that and remove your pins, you will go ahead and iron your seams down so that they will lay really nicely and flat when you get ready to add the headband to the bonnet. Here you'll see me use my fingernail up and down the seam. That's going to help the seam, open up the seam, so that when I get ready to iron it, it will iron flat. Now I'm going to iron the headband down, and I'm going to focus on making the seam as nice and straight and crisp as possible. If you have some straggling pieces of string hanging from the edges where it has raveled or loose, cut those off, and then you can go up to the next step, which is pinning the bonnet onto the headband. Before I started pinning, I just wanted to make sure that my gathering was kind of even all the way around before I started pinning, because that makes a difference in how much headband space you're going to have. When you start pinning, you need to make sure that you have right side to wrong side. So we know that the outside of the bonnet is the blue piece. So you're going to need to take one side of the right side of the headband and pin it to the wrong side, which would be the inside of the bonnet. And here you're going to sew 1/4 inch seams all the way around. You want to remove your pins as you go, because you don't want to run over your pins with your needle, because your needle will break if those pins are not placed exactly where they should be. So it's just best to just remove them as you go. Now I've turned the inner piece that was on the other side, I've turned it over and I'm folding it under to create the closing for the top part of the bonnet, and I'm going to top stitch it, and I'm trying to make sure that it's even all the way around and that no sewing lines or anything like that are showing. And now I'm just going to top stitch along the top of the headband as close to the top of the headband as I can get it, and as straight as I can get it. Be sure to back stitch so that nothing comes loose, and you also want to cut any strings or threads that you got hanging around because you want everything to look neat. And once you've done that, then you have your beautiful little headpiece, and this is how it's going to look. I am going to bling it out more than likely, because you know me, my favorite saying, if it ain't got that bling, it don't mean a thing. So this is adjustable. If it's not large enough, you have an open piece in the back where you can add a piece of elastic. If it is too big, you can always sew the open piece closed. So I pray that you guys enjoy this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for stopping by Crafting with Kitty, and please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Have a sensational rest of your day. Smooches. Mwah.